Siomra Beag.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Michaelandbenjaminspodcast. Welcome back to the tiny room on Siomra Beag. I am the Michael of Michaelandbenjaminspodcast, and I am joined by the man who is the Aeolus to my Hercules. It's Benjamin.
I don't know. I don't get that reference.
It's a bloody thing from the Hercules.
Is he the little guy that follows him around?
Yeah. He's that guy. You know, he's a little kind of. He gets in a scrape.
He gets in a tight spot.
Yeah, and then Hercules has to save him. That's our relationship summed up. But in podcasting.
But in podcast form, where I make a slightly off-color comment.
Ben has trapped himself.
He has to dig himself. He has to dig me out.
Yeah.
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music.
Very weirdly timed there this week, Ben. Benjamin. Bloody, you know what's going on in the world? Very little.
Feckle.
Well, no, in the world, lots is going on. But in the world of popular culture, comic books, TVs, movies, and so on.
In the Distractiverse.
Yeah, very relatively bloody little.
Yeah, it's not a lot going on, Michael.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
The Joker is out.
We're not getting it until October 4th,
right,
Michael. There are several bones to pick with that. I have no idea why it's not out till October 4th, but it seems to be doing its advanced screenings overseas.
In Venice?
It had an Venice release. It's very good, apparently. It's awfully good.
Now, Ben, 83%, 86% Rotten
Tomatoes
score?
Now it's 86.
Now, Ben, who's seen that, though?
It's critics, man.
Yeah, it's critics, isn't it? Isn't it? You see what I'm saying? Well, is it a cause for concern?
The producer of the movie came out and said, I literally can't watch superhero movies. To which people said, that's not factually accurate.
That's worrying, isn't it?
Worrying. So it sounds to me like someone's made a little film now, an art house film about a psychotic clown.
Yeah.
And we've slapped a DC property name on top of it.
That sounds like it might be what it is.
And that's okay. As we said earlier on, Michael, in the podcast, that's the way it was always going to be.
We've only been recording for 2 minutes. Oh, you mean like
previous episodes, Michael?
Right,
previous episodes.
Yeah.
That's what we said. This is an out of canon adaptation. There's not a hint of a Batman's.
Well, there might be at the end.
We'll make a little teaser.
Maybe Batman will come up. Maybe the final scene, Batman kicking him in the side of the head. He's on stage doing a stand-up or something, and Batman's foot just comes in and kicks him in the side of the head.
I would enjoy that. That'd be good.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, but and I've read quotes from critics, Ben, that fill me with dread rather than excitement.
Oh no! For example,
things like, "This is the definitive version of the character. Another version need never be made."
Lies.
That's what I'm saying.
Lies.
Well, I don't know if it is lies, Ben.
Well, again, factually inaccurate.
Well,
one of the things that I'm enjoying is the internet kind of panic at the moment. You don't frequent the Reddit as often as I do, Michael.
I bloody do, Ben, but I just look at Warhammer stuff because I'm a nerd.
You are a nerd, but you're a nice nerd.
Oh,
you're
thanks,
a good
Ben.
nerd. You're one of the good ones.
Oh, thanks.
One of the good
Thanks
ones. You're a very supportive nerd.
Yeah, I like nerds.
Yeah, you like to help little nerd cultures flourish. In a positive, healthy
Ben,
way.
I don't think that I can help the Warhammer community flourish. It's massive.
No, it's mainly you that's done all of it.
Have you ever seen the animated shorts Astartes?
No.
They're incredible. We'll watch them later.
Will we? Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your favourite lads from the Corridor Digital crew.
I love the Corridor Digital crew.
They've been spewing its virtues recently. It's a little web series, animated. Everything was done by one guy, and it looks like a Hollywood movie.
Love it.
I'll show you. We'll have a look later.
There are some phenomenally talented people out there lurking around the internet.
Yeah, I know. If Games Workshop doesn't hire him, they should be set fire to.
Fair enough.
What are we talking about?
No better man for the job. What I was saying, Michael,
Reddit.
was that a lot of people are very excited to see the movie, but simultaneously they're terrified because they know that a legion of neckbeards will espouse the virtue of this Joker and look up to him. And it's a rather interesting thing of just because a character is kind of edgy doesn't mean it's a role model for what you should do.
Bloody Americans.
Because that is what the last Joker representation on screen was to gamers everywhere. He has become a symbol for a rather toxic gamer movement called Gamers Rise Up. I don't know if you've
No, I haven't heard of this.
It's basically a largely sorry.
A large.
I hit puberty yesterday, and my voice is cracking. It is a largely. I'm gonna have to really focus on keeping that depth to the voice.
Keep it low, Ben.
It is a largely white. This is going to be a bad podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're very close to hearing Ben's real voice, his off-air voice, very high pitched.
Fuck you. The only one one of the only things that I'm reasonably content with is my voice.
Oh.
But they're a largely white, whiny community that goes on about how they're oppressed and how gamers are a very maligned demographic in society and blah, 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 blah. But the Joker, for some reason, has become their mascot.
Which Joker?
Heath Ledger Joker.
So not
Heath
the
Ledger
most recent
Joker.
one. You've done what the whole world wants to do and forgotten about Jared Leto.
Yeah, Jared Leto has been forgotten, hasn't he?
He's a popular cosplay character.
It's because...
I think it's because of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, they just want to see if they can get pictures with Harley Quinn at a convention.
Jesus, man.
It's like, well, if I dress as him, they have to pose with me.
Yeah. Now, you do make videos at Comic-Con conventions, Ben. And
yeah, but I only talk to the nice ones. Anyone I've ever talked to at a convention is all right.
Oh, very good.
And we quite frankly stay away from them.
See how you've dug yourself out of a hole there, like Aeolus and Hercules? That was very good.
Nice. But there's a little bit of a fear that he's going to be touted as a bit of a mascot again. And someone put up a very helpful chart where they showed different characters that quite often people aspire to, and they have to be reminded that they're not really very positive characters.
Oh, go on.
For example, a Walter White.
Walter White was a baddie.
Tyler Durden.
Tyler Durden was mad.
Yeah, but it's quite these characters are quite often adopted as kind of role models and people who truly see the world for what it is, and occasionally you have to remind them, going, well, he's a bit of a twat. Actually.
Who should we look up to?
And
then?
a nice person. Michael of Michael and Leonard's podcast is a Michael and Leonard's. I just removed myself.
115 episodes. This is how you tell me it's over. Do I have to do both voices? What was I saying? Hercules from Hercules: The Legendary Journeys.
Yeah, let's look up to the guy that murdered his own family and then
not in Hercules: The
labors.
Legendary Journeys.
What did he do in that?
Look, we'll talk about it later.
Okay, sorry.
Stop bringing it up.
Michael, what else happened this week?
No, bloody Birds of Prey, Ben. Not a trailer per se. There's a secret trailer.
Stills.
There's a trailer going to be released in cinemas only. They're not going to put it on YouTube.
Excuse me?
Like the olden days.
Like the olden days.
Now, obviously, someone will be in there with a camera and they'll record it and they'll put it on YouTube on the first day.
Very niche.
So we don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, we'll see it.
We might see it in cinemas, Ben. We go to the cinema quite a bit.
We will end up probably seeing The Joker when it comes out. We'll probably end up going to see Birds of Prey when it comes out. A Wednesday night cinema club.
Ben, you've just found out in the last 20 minutes that Birds of Prey is a movie.
Yes, and I'm very excited to see it. It has a colour palette, Michael.
Oh, I believe it's pronounced colour palette.
It has a colour palette,
yes,
Michel.
Yes.
And it's blue and red. It looks very good.
Again, though, I'm seeing things saying, look at the characters. They're much more down to earth than their comic book. And I was like, oh no. I thought we got past this in the early 2000s.
And we said it's okay for characters to have their costumes.
Not only okay, better.
It does seem to be that Harley Quinn has, or rather Margot Robbie of Harley Quinn fame, has had more control over how she dresses herself this time and hasn't been put in strangely Oedipal kind of daddy issue clothing, which is good. It's a nice thing to see that she's allowed to dress herself.
I think the costume, yeah, look, I think we've talked about this before, but I've almost completely forgotten about it. Huntress looks like a self-made vigilante tactical outfit.
Yeah, which is cool.
Is it?
You don't
Ben?
like it though. You like a costume.
I like a costume. I think we've gone through that phase of making everyone look like they've made the suit themselves, and it's practical. It's a real world practical version of what they would wear. Feck that.
Are you going to cosplay as Huntress if she does get a costume?
Yes.
Nice.
I will.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah.
I'll get a wig. I won't shave my beard though.
Oh yes.
So
you will probably become a viral sensation.
Would
as a gender bent Huntress.
I don't think so. There's a lot of very good gender bender cosplays.
I think you could be up there, Michael.
Oh, thanks,
I think we could elevate you to the realms of pure gender bent cosplay.
I appreciate that. I'm not. This isn't going to become a thing.
I really hope it does.
Where you
really
essentially bully me into dressing up as lady characters.
No, you're the one that bullies me into doing things, Michael, on the podcast. Remember?
Oh yeah.
That's your role.
Like Hercules and Aeolus.
What I was very excited about was Ewan McGregor is going to be starring as an El Villain.
If he has any bloody time, what with being in the new Star Wars series?
What with? Mm-hmm. What with? Which should be interesting. Mandalorian, can't wait.
He's not in that.
He's not in that.
He's in the Ben Kenobi thing.
I know, but it'll be interesting. But he's going to be Black Mask.
Yeah. Who's Black Mask, Ben? I'm not terribly familiar.
Black Mask is Roman Sionis.
Isn't he just Red Skull?
Not dissimilar. He has a very different backstory. He's not a Nazi in any form.
Oh, good.
Roman Sionis started out as a very B-list Batman villain, and he was basically the heir to a makeup fortune.
Oh, like Sharon Stone
Is that a thing?
in the film Catwoman.
Thank you. Yes, it would be roughly similar to that, I suppose. And he turned to a life of crime when his fortune depleted.
Okay.
And he began to do bank robberies wearing a black mask.
Black mask.
So it's very simple. It has later, his character has gone through several revisions, and he's quite a sinister character now because he's a committed sadist and masochist.
He's got a
and
black mask.
he has an interesting kind of BDSM angle in certain comics. He enjoys torturing people to bejesus.
Oh, what a bad bloke.
There's a famous example in War Games, which is a now infamous, notorious kind of Batman run where the city falls apart due to a huge gang war. And Black Mask is thought to be dead, and he kidnaps Stephanie Brown, who's another Bat family adopted kind of thing, and he tortures her horrifically, which is rendered out throughout the entire comic. Not a lot of off-screen violence there, off-panel violence. It's all very clear, and I remember distinctly reading it and developing a deep, deep hatred for Black Mask as a character.
Oh, good.
So I suppose that could be looked upon as very good writing.
Yeah.
In that I hate him very, very much.
Or a bit obvious.
And he uses that kind of sadism and commitment to become a kingpin of crime in Batman series. And he's now a huge threat. He runs a lot of the crime in Gotham City. He and Oswald Cobblepot, better known as the Penguin, are often foes in gang wars throughout Gotham City. So he's a big crime lord now. He was the key antagonist in Batman Arkham Origins, the video game.
Does he take his mask off?
The mask, yeah. So in earlier versions, he could take the mask off. In later versions, he can't. It's fused to his skull. It's more of a skull. Yeah, it's more of a skull. I would imagine, because you can see Ewan McGregor maskless, that he will very possibly have this mask fused to his face at some point in the film and turn to a life of evil. A life of evil. Yeah, he's an interesting character. He makes for very interesting things. He becomes a huge antagonist of Red Hood when he comes back. Red Hood commits himself to taking down his organization.
If they combine together, they'd be Red Skull.
Yes, they would.
No,
you're very hung up on your Red Skull.
I can see as the Red Skull. He's just over your shoulder there.
That'll do it. He is basically the aesthetic clone of
Red Skull.
Red Skull.
Do you think that he's going to have a black mask on, and then Margot Robbie's going to hit him with a comedy oversized mallet, and then the mask will get stuck to his face?
She does have a mallet.
That's what I'm saying.
I think she might do an acid joke. I think we might see an classic acid
might spray
joke.
him with acid.
Yeah, she's going to spray it, it'll melt in, and we'll have the...
You think?
And then it's like, look what you did to me!
You son of a bitch.
I think he'd probably be maybe a little bit narcissistic. We might have a little bit of a narcissistic character arc. This is all utter prediction.
Apropos of nothing.
But I think we'll probably see... He'll be very sleazy, I think. Because he's a sleazy character. He enjoys a sleazy character. He plays them well.
Ben Kenobi.
Looking for sleazeball. One of the internet's most beloved Star Wars characters, and we just called him a sleazeball. That's going to cost us.
Living in the cave on his own.
Hello.
Hello. Coming to my cave. Why, it's me. I'm Ben Kenobi.
I'm never sure if he's ironically loved by the internet or literally loved by the internet.
Who?
Ben Kenobi. I don't know if they just enjoy the weird affectations that Ewan McGregor brought to that character, or if he's genuinely beloved by the thing. It's hard. Sometimes you spend a lot of time on Reddit, and the line between what's loved ironically and what is quite lauded is very mixed up, Michael. You're kind of left in limbo, being like,
people don't know, Ben.
Do you like this because it's good, or do you like this because you shouldn't?
So what you're saying is, get out of here, bloody Reddit.
No, Reddit is very toxic in certain corners of it. But they are now quarantining a lot of their heavily right-wing subreddits.
Are they?
Yes, much to the chagrin of many, many little neo-fascists.
Oh, good.
The little baby neo-fascists are all up in arms. They're like, oi.
Ben, you stop bringing your Reddit politics to this podcast.
Sorry.
Bloody... If you're a fascist and you enjoy listening to this show, then good on you.
That's the end of that.
Ben, you read a thing.
Yes, I did. Speaking of Batman, that was a very impromptu breakdown of who Black Mask was. Do you want to wrap up on the Birds of Prey, or do you want to keep going?
No, I don't really have anything to say about it.
Move on to the next thing.
It's a film that's going to be made. We've become a DC fan cast this week. This will shut up the people who accuse us.
This is to balance us. Yeah, we've been accused of being Marvel biased in the past. I am actually a committed DC fanboy. And to prove that,
a tattoo.
I've been reading another of the DC Black Label line. that has been coming out, all of which seem to feature Batman, because DC is just not taking a risk on any other character.
Is that the one with Batman's Willy?
No, that has turned out to be a rather poor comic.
Oh no!
And it's been delayed. It's Lee Bermejo. It's been delayed because Lee Bermejo is a fantastic artist and does some really cool stuff. I suppose that the Black Label is really establishing itself as an Elseworld series, but an R-rated Elseworld series, which I think was always the intention. But issue 2 of Bat Penis featured a rap. Do you know the demon Etrigan?
Of course I do.
Okay. For the listeners who aren't familiar, Etrigan is a prince of hell who shares the body of a mortal called Jason Blood. And Jason Blood was a knight in the court of King Arthur, and Merlin cursed him to house the spirit of Etrigan, who's a fiery demon from hell. He's a prince of hell. And one of the interesting things in old medieval texts is that princes of hell rhyme all the time.
Oh, they're not stop rhyming.
So Etrigan is a rhyming demon.
They're going to bring trouble your way.
Exactly. It basically, if Mick had horns and could belch fire and rhymed all the time, that's Etrigan. He's a big, muscly demon that pops up. You're welcome. He's a big, muscly demon. Red. He's very buff today, ladies and gentlemen, in the tiny room. I'm surprised we both fit in here.
I'm just wearing
with his impressive
t-shirt.
bulk.
It's just a small t-shirt bin.
Well, it looks good. I'm enjoying the view all the same.
I appreciate it.
But rather strangely, though. Michael's making very suggestive mouth movements across the screen there. He's licking the top of the mic guard. It's very uncomfortable for everyone in the tiny room, except for Michael, which means just me. Etrigan has been, in this Elseworld series, he's been turned into a rapper.
Oh, really?
Which is very uncomfortable.
No,
it's very bad rapping.
I've spoiled your punchline there by jumping the gun on.
Yeah, it's 1980s. It's 1980s rap. It's like
gangsters. Oh, I never.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's kind of in my head as well. I said a hip hop,
that one. And I went to my friend's house, and he made me dinner, and I ate the dinner, and it wasn't good. And then he said, "Why didn't you like the dinner?" And I said, "I've had better dinners than this."
So, having bought the first issue of that, I didn't. Having bought the first 2 issues of that Bat run, I haven't watched. That's Batman Damned, and I haven't picked up the third one because I didn't enjoy the second one, but I jumped over to the other one that they're doing, which is Last Night on Earth, which again is a Batman-centered series. So, Michael, I want to pitch you something here now.
All right.
In front of us.
What's that song called?
Gangster's Delight? No.
Gangster's Delight. Well, Rapper's Delight.
Rapper's Delight, that's what it is.
Thanks,
Rapper's Delight. We were close enough. Gangster's Delight.
Gangster's Paradise, Rapper's Delight.
The new album from Michael and Benjamin's podcast. Shomer Bjorg presents Gangster's Delight. But the new... So I'm going to pitch you a little thing here. Imagine, for a moment, that you, Michael,
I close my eyes?
Are a defender of the world.
Defenders of the Earth?
You're a defender of the Earth, Michael. Right. One of the big 7 that looks after the planet.
Yeah.
And you have... Shane is from another planet.
Our friend Shane.
Your friend Shane. And your good lady friend is possibly from an island.
Okay. Does she have a sexy costume?
She has a sexy costume.
About bloody time.
Okay, we're getting wildly off course here. And Jim can run really fast.
He can.
He's
surprisingly quick.
And let's say that you come up against a group of villains, and the villains challenge you to a debate.
Right.
And one of the villains is very intelligent.
Famously, I'm a master debater.
You are a master debater. It's true. But this has nothing to do with your private time, Michael. This is something that you would have to do in front of a crowd.
Very good.
Probably wouldn't stop you.
No.
But you have a debate, and he manages to turn the tide of public opinion against you and your friends.
Right.
And they rise up.
Yeah.
Not like gamers, just in general.
Yeah. And
they overthrow the heroes, and then the villains use this opportunity with the heroes gone to take over the planet, but they fucking muss it up.
Yeah.
And you, Michael, were one of the first to fall in a hugely heroic act where you attempted to hold back a storm of people and were then ripped apart for your efforts.
Oh, Jesus.
I know, it's awful. But then you wake up, Michael.
Yeah, it was all a dream.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
You a demon? Be gone, demon.
Be gone. Out of the tiny room. And then you find yourself wandering the wasteland, and you find in this wasteland...
What wasteland?
There's a wasteland now, because the world has fallen apart.
Right.
And you find in a jar one of your greatest enemies.
You.
But it's only my head. It's me, Michael. And you are forced to wander the wasteland with me nattering in your ear as you see what's become of your world.
Yeah.
This is the plot of Batman, Last Night on Earth. He wakes up... he doesn't wake up in that world. He wakes up in a simulation that Alfred has tried to put together. And it turns out that you're a failsafe. You're a clone of the original Michael. So the original Michael died, but in this case, it's Batman.
I saw the analogy.
And a younger Bruce Wayne wakes up in a simulation and he decides he has to go and try to save the world.
Right.
It's a completely different world to what you would have thought. Heroes have kind of carved out different areas. It's a little bit like a copy and paste of what Marvel did with Old Man Logan, where the villains have carved up the planet.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more interesting that there's a much stronger horror element to this than there was in Old Man Logan. And he finds the Joker's head in a jar, and the Joker's head for some reason is still alive. So he has to carry it through the wasteland to try and find some way to bring back order to the world.
But it's a simulation.
No. Sorry, I should have explained that a little bit closer. The simulation, the wasteland is real. The simulation, he woke up in a hospital, and it seemed like he was mentally ill for his entire back career.
Right.
And that was all mental illness. But this was Alpha trying to construct something that would make him happy, and keep him safe.
Right.
But it wasn't true. And he woke up out of that simulation, and he takes up the charge of saving the world again. And it's a whole thing. It's by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, who have famously written some of the best Batmans of the last 10 years, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's much more in their line of DC metal. And it's a bit of a roller coaster, Michael, because you get to see very horrific versions of the villains. The villains have been augmented into kind of body horror, eldritch kind of things. It's very interesting, Michael. It's something I think you'd enjoyed reading.
Oh, it's good. This is turned
mental.
positive. I thought this was...
No, this is something I've been quite enjoying. Now, I'm enjoying it with a pinch of salt because it is Dark Knight's metal pushed to an nth degree. Not unlike nth metal, which is very popular in the DC universe. Swish.
Bloody Hawkman's wings.
Bloody Hawkman's wings, his mace.
Yeah.
Bash, bash, bash. I did a little mace movement
You did,
there. You
yeah.
would have enjoyed it. But it's a very interesting read, Michael. Horrific in certain places. A lot of existential horror going on. What is the point of a hero in a void that doesn't need them?
Yeah.
Dire decisions are made. Wonder Woman moves a vast amount of the population. She makes a deal with Hades in Tartarus and has agreed to move much of her population there to keep them safe. Bane and Scarecrow are a strange duo. Oh, it's great. And one of my favourite things about it is the bizarre road trip buddy scenario that the Joker's head and Batman have throughout the entire series. It's great to see. Joker just doesn't shut up, and it's just incessant, and it's a little bit like this podcast, Michael. Yeah. So it's a great thing, and it got me thinking, Michael.
What did it get you thinking about?
It got me thinking.
What did it get you thinking about?
About my favourite dream teams, my favourite on-screen duos. I thought to myself, do you know what I hate? Doing a podcast with Michael, but you know what makes me think it might be fun is this dream between Batman and the Joker. So it got me thinking, Michael.
Go on, what did it get you
This
thinking
week's topic will be bloody dynamic duos on screen. Dream teams.
Ben, speaking of, we forgot a piece of news.
Oh no!
But look at your segue.
No, go on.
But your segue leads into it perfectly. One of the things from D23 that was announced was that Gemma Chan and Kit Harington are going to be playing Cersei and Black Knight in the Eternals movie.
Who's the Black Knight?
Black Knight is Dane Harris. Is that his name? He's an Arthurian knight who has a cursed sword.
Not Etrigan.
No, he has a cursed sword, not a cursed realm.
Okay, good for him.
But Gemma Chan is playing Cersei.
Gemma Chan, who is already in universe.
Yeah, already.
I think Disney's just mucking around.
I don't know what they're playing at.
Disney's just having a muck around.
Cersei, if you remember, Ben, we thought would be Angelina Jolie.
But no,
they've cast a different lady as the kind of sex pot.
Is Cersei the matter manipulator?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, who's your favourite dynamic duo, Ben? You son of a bitch.
So we were thinking about
other than us.
We were thinking about different things, and we put it out to our fan base there on Instagram. Fan base is unfair. The 6 or 7 people that listen to us on a regular basis. Yeah. And we got some very good suggestions. There are a whole list of things to go through here, but one of the ones that I found very interesting was K and J from Men in Black. That was one that I came across myself doing a little bit of research for this one, and I was like, why would people call that one of the best on-screen duos of all time? But when you break it down, it has all the great hallmarks of a great on-screen duo.
Go on.
First of all, to make a great on-screen duo, you can't have 2 crazy characters as the duo. It doesn't really work as well on screen. You need what's called a straight guy or a straight man.
Yeah,
now, there's no gender politics. It's nothing like that. We're not doing anything weird. And then you need your kind of loose cannon, over the top, crazy character, and then those two play off each other. And if they do it well, it makes for a very memorable duo.
It's like the original
duo.
Odd Couple.
Yeah, it's a great example. Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. Great movie. If you haven't seen that one, check out The Odd Couple, the original not the weird Matthew Perry TV series that they remade. It's bizarre.
With Matthew Perry from Friends.
Yeah. He was in a TV reboot of that. Not a bad series, but off track.
Back on track, Ben.
Kay and Jay are great. So you have Tommy Lee Jones, Mr. Tommy Lee Jones, who talks like this all the time.
I didn't kill my wife.
I didn't kill. I don't care.
Good, yeah. I
It's
was Harrison Ford.
you were Harrison Ford. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. Yeah,
Kind of the
too
same
horse.
there.
Bit too horse. But so he is straight laced.
Yeah.
He's the veteran. He's been doing Men in Black stuff for ages.
He used to be Josh Brolin.
He used to be Josh Brolin. No, he didn't.
He did.
He didn't.
He was Josh Brolin in the prequel.
In that universe, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bizarre thing that we got to see. And then you have, of course, Will Smith at the height of it, peak 90s Will Smith, where he was the god of blockbusters and
Also
just
probably a demon.
also possibly a demon because he loved to rhyme.
He's always
Loved to
rhyming.
rhyme. And he's just a great character. He's got all this energy. He's kind of a ridiculously over-the-top character. His wardrobe in Men in Black is fantastic. It is
Got black suits
peak
coming.
90s hip-hop kind of just flair. It's amazing. And watching those two play off each other is great. Kay is always completely calm. And Jay is always in full panic.
Oh, it's bloody
When he
panicking.
realizes different things. And it's great because you get to see this amazing chemistry where they have a couple of dick jokes in there. Kay
Do
has
they?
a big gun. And Jay gets the cricket, and he's like, "I'm gonna need something bigger than this." And he's like, "No, you won't." And he's trying to explain that it's fine. It's not the size that counts. You got all your little jokes, and it's just peak 90s stuff. You wouldn't get away with that these days, Michael.
Jokes about Willies are the best.
Jokes are great, as a general statement. But you get to have this fantastic dynamic of one guy being dragged into this world. So we have our viewpoint in terms of Jay, and then we have our veteran who gives us kind of an anchor point of just how bizarre this world can be. And then we have the audience panic of Jay just being like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. His head just blew up. You just shot his head off. And it's like, it'll be fine. It'll grow
Goes
back.
back. It's Tony Shalhoub.
It'll grow back. Yeah, it's Tony Shalhoub. Nailing it as a bizarre alien. And I went back and I had a watch of the old Men in Black.
Did you?
Specifically for this. And it's just fun to watch them on screen, Michael.
It's a good film, isn't it?
They're a great pair. Like, oddly, one of the best 90s blockbusters that doesn't get enough credit. It's just a very well written.
I think it does get a lot of credit.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Doesn't it? Like, it's really, if you talk about 90 blockbusters, you're going to be talking about Men in Black.
You should be, though. It's great. And I think probably why the sequels don't do very well is you're trying to capture lightning in a bottle twice. And it just doesn't go as well.
Men in Black 2 is pretty good. Is it?
Again, it's pushed. I think the glimpse we got into that world. Like, I think what people forget about Men in Black, this is quickly becoming a Men in Black fan cast, by the way.
Go ahead.
But I think what people forget about Men in Black is it's perfectly narrated and tied up beautifully with a little bow at the end where Kay has to retire.
Yes.
And you get this really nice catharsis of Kay being neuralized. It's a neuralizer, by the way. That's the little thing that they hold up to people. It's for the other people. It's not for you.
It's for the listeners.
It's for the listeners.
Yeah.
It's so that he's neuralized and he gets to go back to his life before he had to be part of this world. And it's just really amazing. Vincent D'Onofrio is a fantastically bizarre villain in this. Like, if you ever want to see how much Vincent D'Onofrio commits to a role,
oh man,
watch him pretend to be a giant cockroach stuffed into a meat suit.
Yeah.
And you believe every single time he moves on screen. You're like, yep.
I think Vincent D'Onofrio is the greatest actor of our generation.
Very possibly.
Because he plays a big giant cockroach. He plays a slightly mentally disturbed private. He plays that creepy guy in The Cell with Jennifer Lopez. He plays the Kingpin. And it's like 4 different people.
He nails them. He transforms every time.
Yeah, and then Ben Affleck, widely regarded as the greatest actor of our generation.
Is he?
He's just, isn't he? He's just always playing Ben Affleck. He's just,
I think that was a big jump there, Michael.
what if Ben Affleck was Batman?
Oh, I don't want to see that.
No. Well,
Thank God we don't have to see it ever again. But yeah, so I think what people forget is that movie was self-contained and wrapped itself up neatly with a bow. And I think something that spoils Men in Black 2 for me is it undoes that really nice ending in the first one by bringing Kay back. Now, you need Kay back because Tommy Lee Jones does this amazing job as this unfazed super agent who's just like, yeah. And one of the things that irked me about
Men in Black 3,
Men in Black
International.
3, Men in Black International was that everyone goes on about Liam Neeson as one of the greatest agents in the agency's history, and I was like, where's Kay? Why is nobody mentioning Kay? Because Emma Thompson is back.
Yeah.
And Emma Thompson and Kay have a little flirtation in Men in Black 3. Josh Brolin and Sexy British lady. Who is this sexy British lady who
Who
plays
plays young Emma
Agent
Thompson?
M?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Is it Alice Eve?
Could be. That's exactly who it is.
Is it Alice Eve?
Oh, look at you.
Is it?
That's exactly who it is. It's Alice Eve.
That was a bit of a guess there.
Look at you. Swish over there from
Just-
Michael Leonard.
I am bloody pop culture knowledge, Ben.
You are.
It just comes out of my pores.
You are. But
I hope it's right.
I think, yeah, so do I. In one of the testaments to that on-screen duo is when Josh Brolin takes over
Yes.
as a younger Kay, he plays Tommy Lee Jones Kay. He's
Yep.
just pretending to be Tommy Lee Jones, and it works. One of the only things that works in that Men in Black 3 film
Yes.
is the on-screen relationship between Kay and Jay. It still works because those two characters have been perfectly balanced as a straight guy.
It is Alice Eve.
And yeah, you were right. He's patting himself in the back there, ladies, with those tremendously worked out guns in that tight little t-shirt.
Ben, stop fetishizing me. It's
No,
freaking me out.
it's too late.
What are you saying?
The
baddie is... No, there's a stretch. The baddie is too similar to the cockroach.
in
three.
yeah.
Germaine Clement's baddie is too
Again,
similar.
they're trying to capture lightning in a bottle again. And they did a relatively good job in Men in Black 2. Big change of villain, big change of thing. And again, I think what spoils it is Men in Black 1 and Men in Black 2. Let's take them as two separate examples.
Which one ends with the universe as a marble and which one ends with the universe as
Universe
a
as a
locker?
Marble is Men in Black 1.
Right.
That's what makes it so entertaining, is this huge existential kind of thing, and you can open a locker and you see a different world.
Is
It's the
that
little
two,
guys.
though? Because one of them ends with the universe as a marble, one of them ends with the universe as a locker.
Yeah, Men in Black 2 is Universe as a locker.
Is it?
Men in
Okay.
Black 2 is Universe as a locker. And Men in Black
What's
1
Men in Black
is
3 then?
Marble. Men in Black 3 is just a romp
Universe
through
is a
time.
universe.
Yeah,
Okay.
universe is universe. Yeah, and I think one of the things that's great about it is 1 and 2 adhere to their own logic.
Right.
Kay is a really respected agent. Jay is rising through the ranks, and we don't change too much of that characterization, and you get to see it twice.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it even better is there's a nice change of villain. You get a little bit more of Kay's backstory. You get to understand exactly what he's been doing for Men in Black all those years, and why he needs to be brought back makes a lot of sense. One of the things that annoys me about Men in Black 2 is they got rid of the coroner, who was a great character in the first one. I can't remember that actress's name, which is very unfair. But they kind of get rid of her character. She's just wiped off the slate.
There's a coroner in Men in Black
Yeah,
1.
in Men in Black 1, it's the sexy lady coroner that Jay kind of has a little flirtation with, but then she ends up being his partner at the end of Men in Black 1 because Kay is gone.
Oh, I don't remember.
So Will Smith gets a new partner. But she's a very good actress in this. And it's, again, an interesting choice for Men in Black 1 because she's not a love interest. She's not there as a love interest. Whereas Rosario Dawson is relegated to the realm of possible love interest.
Linda Fiorentino.
Linda Fiorentino. That's
It's
who it
bloody
is.
Linda Fiorentino.
Bloody Linda Fiorentino.
From
And
Dogma.
she does an amazing job in that film.
The funny thing about her is she looks a lot like Laura Flynn Boyle, who plays the villainess in Men in Black 2.
Maybe that's why they got rid of her. I don't know.
Might have been. It might be too
maybe
similar.
it was too much of a class. But Laura Flynn Boyle plays a great, very different villain. It's a very different type of villain. Whereas Men in Black 3 goes back and tries to
Recreate
copy
the cockroach.
exactly, and it doesn't work because they knew they didn't have a strong enough villain. They were like, oh, we need something a little bit body horror-y, a bit like this. But
And they also cast Nicole Scherzinger for the trailers.
bizarre. Bizarre. Nicole Scherzinger, who has amounted to very little in pop culture history.
She's on a bloody
She was on a Yoga Dad.
Voice or something like that.
She's gone now. She's been
she?
replaced a long time ago.
I don't know.
But what I meant to say was, one of the things that annoyed me about Men in Black International, which I also saw recently,
Oh,
is
this really is a Men in Black fan
yeah,
house. Go on.
this is the last part. They completely wipe all the American history out of the way, and they create this new villain that turns out is a universal threat, the Hive, who we've never heard about
Well, that's
previous to this.
every
I know,
sequel, isn't it?
but
Ben?
I think that's very messy storytelling. I don't like it. It's
Bloody every
inconsistent.
sequel. Every
Anyway, K and J, one of my favorite on-screen duos. Sorry about that,
duos.
ladies and gentlemen. In recent Marvel history, we've had quite a few examples, and if anyone
Alright.
takes a look at the Instagram there, you'll see that our post posing this question to the people who follow the Instagram uses Valkyrie and Thor from a thing, which was a great addition in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, I didn't think so.
Okay, never mind.
I like Valkyrie and I like Thor. I don't think they make a great duo, though. I think the best duo there was Valkyrie and Hulk.
Yeah, they were nice.
They were not, or Thor and Hulk. I didn't think Valkyrie and Thor were a great. And I don't even know.
Fine.
I don't think did they have more than 30 seconds on screen together in Thor in Endgame. I think they have a combined on screen time together of probably about 3.5 minutes. Fine. It was a good picture though.
Thor and Loki then.
Thor and Loki is much better, Ben. Good shout.
Yeah, there we go. Off you go. That was given to us by your good lady friend.
Oh, was it? Oh, she's quite sharp. Yeah,
As a tack.
Thor and Loki is a good combination of again different characters. Although, funnily enough, Loki usually plays the straight man in that he's not being funny.
That's a relatively new development though, where Thor is like a big Labrador and Loki plays a cat.
Yeah, basically.
That's the way I've seen it described, and I thought that was a very good analogy for the two. Thor is just a giant Labrador, and Loki is a jaded cat.
Yeah, the cat dog.
Yeah, exactly, and it works a little bit like that, and it's very entertaining. I think Taika Waititi did a fantastic job of really putting more energy into that relationship where you believe that they're rival siblings. And don't get me wrong, the relationship was well built, but it was a little bit melodramatic in Thor 1.
Well, the whole of Thor. Doth mother know thou wearest her drapes?
Yes, exactly. It's a little bit like that. And it's a little bit over the top. And it's the same with Thor 2. It's very melodramatic when Loki pretends to die in Thor 2. And it's like, oh, brother. Oh, brother.
I've died.
But then we transition from that to,
is he dead? He's died before.
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth seems to have a great ability to bring chemistry to any on-screen relationship that he has to be in. We're just a couple of hotheads, you and I.
I don't know though, because I'm not.
Shoot me down.
I shoot you down because I think that what we all thought was going to be great about Men in Black International was going to be Thor and Valkyrie on screen together, and I didn't really love them as a combination of what were their names?
What do you mean? What were their names?
What were their names in bloody
Men in Black International?
P and Q.
Can't remember.
Should have been P and Q.
Yeah.
Because it's British.
It's very P's and Q's.
Yeah,
mind your P's and Q's.
That would have been very clever.
Yeah.
But whatever their names, I think she was J, wasn't she? Wasn't she?
She was a J equivalent, yeah.
But was she called J? I can't even remember.
I don't know if they replaced her. I really wanted Will Smith to do a cameo in Men in Black International.
Oh, he only did a cameo in a picture.
By the end of it, I'm glad that I didn't have to see him in it, because I think he would have...
So I don't think they were a great on-screen duo, to be honest.
Fine. It doesn't matter. Men in Black International is not getting a sequel anytime soon, so we don't have to see any more of that. But,
Benjamin.
Yes, go on.
Some of my favourite on-screen duos.
Off you pop.
Due to my vintage, Ben, some of my favourite...
You are vintage.
Exactly. Some of my favourite on-screen duos come from the period of television which I think will go down in history as Kiwi exploitation or New Zealand exploit...
Zploitation?
No, that's not great either.
Zexploitation?
Zealand exploitation. I think Kiwi exploitation was the best one.
Yeah.
The period of the early to mid 90s where every TV show was filmed in New Zealand and was sexy for some reason.
Why not?
So Ben, in celebration of Dynamic Duos, I watched the first 2 episodes of bloody Hercules: The Legendary Journey.
No.
Yeah, because
is that where all those references were coming from?
It's a throwback. Because Ben, one of my favourite on-screen duos when I was but a pup was Hercules and Aeolus.
Nice.
And like you said, Hercules is the straight man.
Yes.
Because he's good and he's kind, and unlike the legend, Hera doesn't drive him mad and he kills his own family.
Good.
She just directly kills them.
Okay, they take out that very, very irksome moral complex of a man murdering his own family.
They whitewash Hercules as a character.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any of the flaws of Hercules. He's not a drinker or a gambler
What's the point then?
Or a braggart.
He's just a bit of a Jesus in a schmuck.
Jesus in a schmuck. He's Captain America in ancient Greece, but it's really New Zealand.
Fair.
He's a bit of a boring character, to be honest.
But that actor has specialised in boring characters for his entire career. Kevin Sorbo, who is now a hardcore Christian, and you will only see him in Christian films.
Yeah. Well, you can Hercules and Xena both went Christian towards the end of their runs. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
They both ended up veering into Christian mythology.
How did Lucy Lawless handle that? She doesn't strike me as a very...
Well, look at any mythological thing ends up veering into Christian mythology when it's produced in a Christian country. Look what happened to Supernatural.
Yeah, that became very...
No, it's not very Christian.
Very Christian-centric, though.
But it's based a lot around angels and demons and God. And
theoretically, that's not the dominant religion that would rule that.
Well, in the Hercules and Xena thing, the Christians are seen as a new invading religion. But look, they're very fast and loose with history anyway, those shows.
I would imagine so.
But Aeolus, Ben,
yes.
He's played by a guy called Michael Hurst. He's a little tiny guy and he gets in scrapes.
Okay.
If if Michael Hurst was 15 years younger, he definitely would have been in Spartacus, which is kind of a modern example of New Zealand exploitation. For sure.
Big sweaty men bashing each other.
Yeah. Now,
Michael Hurst is a screenwriter. I can't find the actor. Hang on.
That might be him.
It's not him, surely.
I think that is him.
No way.
I think that is him. He was probably about 50. He was like a young 50.
Okay. Hang on. Hang on.
Or I'm getting his name wrong. But
it's Michael Hurst with a U. That was Michael Hirst with an I.
Right, okay.
This is Michael Hurst. It's a little bit like a bargain bin Alan Tudyk or
he
a
has
buff
a touch
Alan
of
Tudyk.
Yeah, he has a touch of Alan Tudyk's about him.
Aw, they look very happy
Look
together.
at he's so small.
It is like the start of every gay porno ever. That's exactly what that is.
He is he's very New Zealand camp, isn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the one who gets into scrapes then, and he's the one who gets exactly.
Good image.
He drives the plot forward a lot of the time because Hercules doesn't do stupid things. So if you need like a seductive lady character to seduce someone, they'll seduce him, and then he'll go off and get in trouble.
Hercules is too good.
Because Hercules is too good, and
he wouldn't fall for such a ruse.
Honouring his wife's memory and whatnot.
Oh, for feck's sake!
But anyway, yeah,
she's dead. Hercules, get your leg over.
They're great. They're very funny. They're very good together.
Good pairing.
But you know what's the funny thing? This is totally unrelated. I watched the second episode of Hercules. Actually, the 8th aired, but the second filmed. It's almost irrelevant. But Ben, you know your desire to see famous actress Lucy Liu dressed up as a kind of sexually exploitative Chinese princess running around the forests of New Zealand pretending that it's Greece.
You promised me that you would stop reading my diary before the podcast.
This desire that you have sometimes hinders your functioning in real world life.
Look, it's just it's a strong thought. It comes along and it throws me off balance.
What you should do is watch the second episode of 1994's Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, because I was quite frankly, Ben, shocked,
taken aback.
I couldn't believe it was Lucy Liu.
I'm gonna have to look this up on my phone now as well.
Lucy Liu is in the second episode of Hercules: The Legendary Journeys as a kind of sexy exploited princess. And it's very entertaining. She does terrible martial arts on people. She's in love with a guy.
There she is now.
There she is. Look at her.
Oh, she's sliding up Hercules' back there.
Oh yeah, she gives him a little back rub. Ben, there isn't a woman in that show not in a bikini. It's so exploitative.
There she is now in a bikini. Look, there she is.
Yeah, she is. That's what she wears
now
for the whole episode, day or night.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah,
fuck's sake.
Speaking
of Kiwi exploitation, any other ones that you came across there?
Bloody Ben, you can't watch Hercules: The Legendary Journey without going and having a look at Xena, because Xena has one of the most iconic on-screen duos of all time.
Oh, look, they've got Xena and that other one.
Xena and Gabrielle. So, Ben, I've done you a favour by watching probably the best episode of Xena.
Yeah.
Which is from season 1. It's called...
Lucy Lawless is very attractive sometimes.
I didn't find Lucy Lawless very attractive. I think she has small eyes. But, I don't like commenting on people's appearance.
No, except yours. You're a much better man than I. She's got big eyes there in that gif.
It's probably a filter. Probably the most popular episode...
Xena Snapchat one.
Yeah. Probably the most popular episode of Xena was called Callisto.
Callisto being the famous figure of... Well,
Callisto is a very popular character in Xena, played by the actress Hudson Leek. And she's kind of an evil Xena.
I have to keep looking at this now.
Ben, you'll see that. You'll understand why I enjoyed it when you take a look. But look...
she had big eyes, Michael.
There's a touch of the Michelle Pfeiffer's about her, let's just say.
Okay.
Callisto is kind of a product of Xena's past.
Jesus.
And
she's exactly like a young Michelle Pfeiffer. You have such a type.
Leave me alone. Stop bullying me. You're such a
come on, Michael.
You're such a bully.
You literally got a big sexy goth lady.
Get rid of that. Don't be showing that to me, Ben. I'm trying to do a podcast.
Oh, please put this in the video. People need to see. Oh goodness, she's filled with arrows there. What's that about?
She's immortal at one point, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, Ben, let me talk about...
in front of some fire.
Yeah,
look at her. She's a bloody... she would have made a great dark Supergirl. That woman is like a perfect dark Supergirl.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Stop just staring at the lady, Ben. Let's talk. Remember, we do a podcast. It's not just about people's appearances.
I'm busy.
What was I saying? Yes, she's a product of Xena's past. When Xena was a warlord, she burnt down her village. But Xena always made it her point never to hurt women or children. She only fought killed men and warriors.
Sexist.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, the village burned down as a kind of accident.
Oops.
So Callisto has grown up to hate Xena.
Fair.
And she's become a kind of warrior queen herself, 44 minutes.
Good for
she's
her.
become a warrior queen herself. And she raids the countryside, killing villagers and letting some survive and telling them she's Xena.
Oh no.
So it's she's Xena's own dark past personified come back to haunt her.
Oh, I like that in a story.
Isn't that interesting?
I like reaping what you sow.
It's a very good episode. And then Gabrielle, Ben, functions as Xena's kind of conscience because, you know what I mean? In the way
she's a foil.
In the way that Hercules is kind of a stoic, boring guy and Aeolus is the comedy and the
Bit of
fun and
crack,
the
like.
getting in trouble, Xena is kind of emotionless, not facing up to reality, hard-bitten character. And Gabrielle is the kind of softer, more innocent...
Sapphic love interest.
You don't really get that in season 1. I think that gets leaned into a lot more in the later seasons. She's a way to express emotions.
Fair.
The episode Callisto is the first episode where Xena cries.
Oh.
Because Gabrielle is making her say, "You're not your past. Don't you be listening to that bitch.
Don't you listen to a word that young one's
Don't
saying.
listen to that sexy lady. You don't listen to her."
She only know tart. What you listen to her for? She doesn't know what she's talking
Any
about.
other iconic duos?
I mean, we had several wonderful suggestions, and one of the ones that I enjoyed the most there was Indiana Jones and his father, Dr. Jones, in The Last
Very
Crusade.
good, yes.
And so we named
Who's
him
that
after
from?
the dog.
Is that from Geek and Son?
That's from
Another iconic
Geek
duo.
and Son. Another iconic duo. Great podcast if you fancy listening to it. But yeah, we had a suggestion from Geek and Son of Jones and Dr. Jones, Indiana Jones and Dr. Jones from The Last Crusade, and it's a great pairing. It's a really unusual thing to see, and one of the things that I really like about that relationship is how little both those men know about their father or son respectively, and it's a really nice movie in that both of them start to see each other in a new light, and I quite enjoy it as a thing. Plus it gave us the iconic no ticket scene.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "Don't move, Dad," and he's like, and he's having the whole thing. He's like, "Oh my god!"
Of course, another iconic duo recreated that scene. Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent Bob recreated that. No ticket. The only line in the entire Jay and Silent Bob for Silent Bob.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite. No, sorry, that was Dogma. It was in Dogma.
It was Dogma. You're right.
Yeah, that's my mistake, not yours. You just said Jay and Silent Bob. I made it the movie. One of my favorite off-color jokes in that is where they've both slept with the same woman and not realized it. "How did you know she was a Nazi, Dad?" And he's like, "She talks in her sleep." And you'd see Indiana Jones slowly go, "Oh,
Dad.
no."
Sean Connery isn't much older than Harrison Ford. He's
not at all.
It was way too close, realistically.
But I quite enjoyed the fact that it works all the same. One of my favorite things is how Sean Connery takes down an airplane with a flock of seagulls while quoting the Bible, I think. He shoots them up in the air. And I don't know, it's nice to watch that relationship grow where you see both men kind of recognizing, because they have quite a distant relationship at the beginning of the film. It's set up great with that interesting kind of prologue to the title sequence where you see his difficult childhood and how his father doesn't really have time for him and stuff like that. And you learn over the course of the movie that's because their mother died and it was hard for them to have. I don't know, it's a very well written father-son relationship with mutual respect. There's no snap respect either. It's a gradual build. I think it's a really well written duo and they're great fun to watch. Comedically, they bounce off each other in a great way.
Friend of the podcast, Gareth, said Tango and Cash. I think he was joking.
He was.
But Tango and Cash were responsible for one of the greatest ever ends of a movie of all time.
Which is, I haven't seen.
They do
Tango
a really
and Cash.
awkward high five.
Oh, nice.
And then it gets captured in a movie still and then turns into a newspaper article, I think.
Oh, God.
I'll show you later. It's absolutely brilliant.
He did give us some more serious suggestions after that.
Yeah. Well, Laurel Hardy, of course.
Laurel Hardy, like one of the all-time great on-screen duos. And then what was the other one?
The Dude and Walter.
The Dude and Walter is probably one of the most iconic duos you will ever come across. Interesting again in that it's reluctant. That friendship seems to be far more born out of laziness than it is out of any kind of
like this
kinship.
bloody
Like
podcast.
this bloody podcast.
Gotcha.
There's not a day that I wish that I hadn't said no. But yeah, so I mean that's an interesting thing where, and again, it's a great example of two opposites bouncing off each other very well. Like Walter is the Vietnam vet, and the dude is a committed, lazy pacifist. I don't think he's a pacifist because he believes in peace. I think he's a pacifist because it's too much effort to be anything else.
He's not doing anything. Another suggestion, Ben, we had from Polka Dot Sundays was Bloody Mabel and Tipper from one of our favourite shows, Gravity Falls.
Yeah, I mean, that's some fantastic writing in general. Probably one of the most believable brother-sister relationships I've ever seen put to screen.
I watched an episode the other day, Ben. We don't have enough time to talk about it, but my favourite quote from Mabel was she sees an ad in a magazine for a... What's that, Ben?
You take a look at that there now.
She sees an ad in a magazine and it says human-sized hamster ball, and her reaction is, I'm human-sized. Brilliant.
She is an incredibly well-written character, and again, a good example of straight guy versus funny guy. Mabel being the funny guy in this particular case,
she's the loose unit,
and Dipper being the straight guy, but it works really well. And again, a lot of mutual respect. One of the things that I think is really written quite well in Gravity Falls is when they have conflict between them as a pair, and you see that they're children again, and you're restored to this thing of they get very cranky with each other,
and petty,
and I think it's very well written in that regard. And then I suppose we had other examples again. One of the big ones that we got was Woody and Buzz.
Woody and Buzz are a good team.
Probably a fantastic look at growth and development in friendship. Not unlike this podcast, Michael. Not unlike this podcast.
That's nice, isn't it?
That's a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Woody and Buzz are that, and that got me thinking about Disney in general. I think Disney have really cracked the code on buddy partnerships.
Who said Woody and Buzz?
Woody and Buzz was given to us by Infinity Action Figure Art.
Great Instagram channel.
He said it might seem like a strange choice, but actually Infinity Action Art, I think you've nailed on the head that one. Nail on the head. That one. I'm having a small stroke here, ladies and gentlemen. But it got me thinking about, in general, how a lot of the Disney films really nail on-screen duos in quite a good way.
You're just going to have to list them because we've got about 4 minutes left.
There's some really interesting ones. I think they balance mute characters with talkative characters really well. So a good example of that would be Genie and the Carpet in Aladdin, or Mushu and the Cricket in Mulan, where you have this interesting rivalry between two characters, but they also get on very well. One of the scenes that sticks out to me in my memory all the time from Aladdin is when when Genie and the Carpet are playing poker together. It's absolutely hilarious when Mushu and the Cricket are typing the letter fakely, and Mushu is reading the letter going, this isn't good enough, you have to do it again. And it's a good comedic duo, and we can see that again and again come up in Disney.
I haven't seen Mulan.
You haven't seen Mulan? Oh, you should. It's a very good duo, a very good film in general. But it's well worth a watch. I will not be watching the live action one because they've taken the songs out, Michael.
You'll still watch it.
I'll have to, because we do a podcast on pop culture things.
Yeah,
God damn it! But one of the more modern examples of that, where they really nailed it square between the eyes, was
Cagney and Lacey.
The Emperor's.
Am I Cagney or Lacey? I think I'm Lacey.
You're Lacey.
You're Cagney.
I'm Cagney. It's The Emperor's New Groove.
I've seen it.
Again, very late era Disney Renaissance animation style.
Is there a goat?
It's a llama.
Oh, okay.
It's a llama, and it's
the goat of the mountain. No, that's a mountain goat.
So there are two great on-screen relationships at work there. There's Poncha, voiced by John Goodman, and I definitely got that name wrong, but it's Poncha, and then there's Emperor Cusco. And voiced by David Spade, of all people.
David Spade?
Yeah, but he does a great job of it. And again, reluctant partnership. One of those classic, again, road trip kind of buddies pair-ups, where Cusco promises Poncha his land back if he gets him to the palace, back to where he needs to be to transform back into a human. And the other great duo that's there is Yzma and Kronk, which are the two villains. Yzma is the nefarious, kind of calculated villain, and Kronk is the dopey henchman, voiced by Patrick Warburton, of all people.
Very good.
And it's fantastic to watch those two play off each other. So I think Disney really has kind of mastered that element of the formula. I mean, you can see it in their more modern movies as well. Maui and Moana herself have a great kind of begrudging partnership.
Good partnership.
And I think Disney always do a great job of showing how those relationships can build and develop as time go by.
You would think that the likes then of Sam and Dean wouldn't be a good duo.
Sammy.
I suppose they're not iconic as a duo, are they? Because they're a bit too similar.
I think people pick their favourite.
Yeah.
You're either a Sam or a Dean.
I prefer Dean.
Dean is a much better character, I think, overall. Sam was very poorly written.
You stole Dean's haircut.
In a couple of minutes. Many people have said that when I was younger, looked like a younger Jensen Ackles. And that's a big pat on the shoulder for me. And it's a very arrogant statement to make, but what many people have said. In fact, I was mistaken the first time we ever did a Comic-Con video for a bloody Dean.
Yeah, you were George.
Several times. Several times.
You were the baby goose.
But yeah, sure. Anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, who are your favourite on-screen duos? Do you have any? Did you agree with anything we said here? What did you think of the first Men in Black film?
It's great.
Let us know. If you'd like to see us cover a topic here on the Tiny Room, there are many ways on the Tiny Room. No, on the Michael and Benjamin's podcast, produced by the Tiny Room.
It's not the.
Produced by Tiny Room.
No, the Tiny Room. But Michael and Benjamin. 115 episodes, Ben. God damn it. Michael and Benjamin's podcast, the Tiny Room. Start again. What a dynamic duo.
This is the last podcast for Michael and Benjamin's podcast. Join us next week for the Michael Leonard podcast.
Yay!
He's all by himself in a room. You can get in touch with us a bunch of ways to do that. We are on Instagram. We have our own website, seomrabeag.com, SEOMRABEAG.com. You can drop us an email. You can keep up to date with what we're up to.
Yeah. If I keep the website up to date.
If you keep the website up to date.
Which I generally do.
He generally does. He's quite good at that. We are also on YouTube. If you want to check us out there, you can find us on SoundCloud or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
A review on Apple Podcasts while you're there would be absolutely
It's
fantastic.
worth, like a picture, it is worth 1,000 words.
It is worth 1,000 words. If you are one of the committed listeners on YouTube, give us a comment. It always helps us to get analytics. Is this pushy? Absolutely. But you love us.
A like, apparently, Ben.
A like is...
Can't beat a like.
Can't beat a like. Throw us now a like there, lads. And you can hear us on Spotify, absolutely free of charge. So that's it from us for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Bye.
Bye.